The Pentagon is preparing to send about 150 troops to Syria. This comes after a new report from the UN's Independent International Commission on Inquiry of Syria, which has just implicated the U.S.-led coalition in committing crimes against millions of Syrian people, including the deliberate targeting of civilian inhabited areas. RT correspondent Fronczak joins me now with this story. I want to start with this new troop movement. First of all, it's been 8 years since the U.S. began this intervention in Syria, and over 5 years since we first revealed that there were actually U.S. troops on the ground in Syria. What can you tell us about this new troop movement?
Right. So the Pentagon says that this is a diplomatic move in sending 150 troops there. It's a diplomatic move that the U.S. has taken in the past couple of weeks to diffuse tensions it has with Turkey, who is a NATO ally. Now, Turkey is not happy with the U.S. doing this because while we supported Syrian Kurdish fighters because they helped lead the ground war against ISIS, Turkey considers them terrorists. Well, right now, the U.S. has about 1,000 troops in Syria to combat whatever's left of ISIS there. Turkey threatened to invade Syria last month to push Kurdish fighters away from the border that they took back from ISIS. So the Pentagon has rushed to set up both air and ground patrols with Turkish forces.
Now, has the Pentagon declared a reason for these additional troops?
So actually, what they've said is the military officials, they aren't saying whether or not these forces, if they're going to be coming from the United States, which would increase the overall number of troops there in Syria, or if they're going to be moving troops around, which could create actually an imbalance with forces that are already there fighting counterterrorism and having counterterrorism missions there. But while the news of this is coming out, the U.S. and some of the allied forces are actually being slammed by the UN Commission, again, like you said, for war crimes committed against Syrian civilians there.
So what exactly are these investigators reporting?
Yeah, so a report by the Independent International Commission was submitted to the Human Rights Council, and it shows how the past 9 years in the war in Syria have left some parts of the country just completely destroyed. Writing here that international coalition led by the U.S. and Syrian Democratic Forces led to near complete destruction of towns and villages. Waves of displacements from these areas ensued. Now, to date, 13 million civilians, which includes almost 7 million refugees, 6 million internally displaced men, women, and children. The UN's top human rights body suggests that airstrikes from last January near the town of Asafa may not have been carried out with the necessary precautions because a reported 16 people were killed, but that is a number that's actually estimated to be much higher.
It's interesting because it's clear that all parties are either ignoring or denying, right, humanitarian assistance, and that's confirmed in this report as well. And we have to remember that any violation of international law does constitute a war crime. Has there been a response from Washington yet?
Yeah, actually, Michelle, there has. The U.S.'s top envoy for Syria, James Jeffrey, he was briefed on this by the UN, and he totally rejects the claims made in this report. Here's what he had to say.
We take extreme care in every military operation we do, and we do not accept the findings of that particular body.
Now, the UN is currently working to get the Syrian government and its opposition to agree on rewriting a new constitution for the country, hoping that it might end this almost decade war there in Syria. Michelle.
Faran Fronczak, thank you for that report.
So you haven't heard that we're the ones covering the stories that you won't see covered anywhere else? In Venezuela, Kazakhstan, let's go to Hong Kong. And the media reaction to that has been crickets. How about the way we cover those stories? What the hell does that mean? Wally. That's the key word in this case, uprising. Keep? Can you believe that? Watching. This is the right thing for members of the media to do, to actually pick sides. Look, if you like what you see, subscribe.